throwing that right, but Davis took off some of the steam of the punch, but still, Roach leaned with right.
He took a knee.
He took a knee.
He's got to count.
I understand. You take a knee like that, that looks like a knockdown. All right?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Tank just took a knee? But you got to call it. That's a knockdown.
Yeah.
Bro, he took a knee. Nah, they kind of cheated. They just cheated Roach, bro. No. The ref did Roach dirty. He took a knee. Yeah, that was my live reaction, immediate reaction, initial reaction to the missed call on Tank versus Lamont Roach. And y'all know I rock with Gervonta.
Yeah.
But let me take this opportunity to remind you why you rock with this channel. Because I'm meticulous, thorough, real, unbiased, and most importantly, we prioritize facts over feelings, unlike those goofy ass emotional channels that you usually rock with. That's why we're the best. Let's get this video going. Oh yeah, before we get started, I wanted to say and further emphasize that I'm not isolating anybody individually or attacking anybody personally by anything I'm saying. I want to put an emphasis on that. However, whatever I say, if it feels like a personal attack because the shoe fits, then I want to take this opportunity to honestly, sincerely, and wholeheartedly say that I don't give a fuck. Cause I ain't never been no hater. Hell, I don't even know how to spell that 4-letter, 1-syllable word, hate. You feel me? But I'm always going to say how I feel, and I'm always going to keep it real. Now let's get to the video.
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Talk family? It's your boy, Dr. Boxing Talk. Back for another YouTube video. Banger, man. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I know what time it is. The doctor's in the house, man. So check this out. You already know we got a whole lot to talk about, man. You know, it was a phenomenal card. Shout out to all the fighters involved. You know what I'm saying? Also, shout out to the fight on the zone too with Subro Matias and Gabriel Golas Valenzuela. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the main thing. We're going to keep the main thing. And that is Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, man. This fight was good. It was competitive. And you know what's crazy? It was controversial too, which a lot of us didn't see coming. But I want to be very clear on this too, man. Before we get into the controversy, I want to be very clear, man. Lamont Roach did his thing. He deserves all the praise and all the credit in the world, man. You know what I'm saying? But I want to say also that we deserve some credit too, because over here, y'all heard me say repeatedly that this fight is going to be a good competitive fight. I did pick Tank to win. Yes, because y'all know I rock with Tank. You know, he's one of my favorite fighters, him and Cinnamon, right? And even Junto Nakatani. But so I picked Tank to win, but I thought he would win by late stoppage because I thought it was going to be competitive until he gets to Roach eventually. A lot of people were saying that Roach was going to be out in 2 rounds by judging from the media workout and stuff like that.
You dumbass.
So if you're making those assessments, don't come and praise Lamont Roach now. You know what I'm saying? Don't praise him now because it's not really praise. It's just your hate for Tank manifested as love for Lamont Roach right now. And he peeped that. That's why he said what he said at the press conference, man.
To all this, I'm going to go back and look at y'all pages. I promise you. I'm so glad the fake boxing media not here neither. Two-tone, showbiz, all that. Other than that, fuck two-tone, fuck showbiz. I might come on. All right, they don't know nothing about boxing.
That's a fact, ain't it? Ain't it? All right then.
I appreciate you guys here. Thank you.
So shout out to Lamont Roach for standing on business. A lot of you goofies didn't give him a chance. You said it was going to be over with, that it was an easy fight. But now all of a sudden the same people that were saying that are the same exact people turning around and trying to praise him now.
Shut up, bitch.
Come on, bro. That's a backhanded compliment, man. But shout out to Lamont Roach. He deserves all the credit. He fought a hell of a fight and he brought it to Tank and he made Tank work for it. You know what I'm saying? So big salute to Lamont Roach. Get that right out the gate.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, going in, I thought it was going to be competitive. But I didn't think it was going to be that damn competitive. I ain't going to lie. And y'all know I do my live reactions and live commentary for the fights, and I did my live scorecard during the fight. I called it 8-4 for Tank. That's a score that reflects 116-112. Now the situation, you know, that transpired happened in the 9th round where the knockdown took place. You know, well, it wasn't literally a knockdown, but it scored as a knockdown because you took a knee, right? So that happened in the 9th round. I thought outside of that, Gervonta Tank Davis won that round. But if I switch it and the right call was called, let's pretend for a moment, right, in the alternate universe or a parallel reality, you know, let's say that the kneel was counted how it's supposed to be counted, right? Then that would have been a 10-8 round for Roach, and that would have changed my 116-112 score 8 rounds to 4. That would have changed it from 7 rounds to 5. Then you factor in the knockdown, it would have been a draw. So I don't think that the draw was a bad call from my scorecard. Now, granted, with the judges' scorecard, of course, the no knockdown is colossal, right? It's very significant, and it would have changed the outcome in favor of Lamont Roach. I definitely acknowledge that. But on my scorecard, you know, which I call live in real time, it would have just made it a draw. That's what it ended up being. So I don't think the result is bad. But what is bad and what's undeniable is the fact that that call was missed. And that's a fact.
Yeah.
But see, my issue with y'all, the people that are doing too much and over exaggerating the significance of the kneel. I know a lot of y'all don't play sports, let alone ever boxed before. A lot of y'all never even got in a squabble before.
Teach your man how to squabble. Get that trigger next time, nigga.
But that's neither here nor there. But you never boxed before, right? So the reason why that's important, the reason why that's pertinent is because if you boxed, you know taking the knee is what they teach you. You're supposed to take your knee when you're hurt. That shows that you have all your faculties about you and you have the awareness and especially situational awareness. You know you're in trouble, whether it's from a punch or otherwise, and you take a knee to regather yourself, to regroup, you know what I'm saying? To bring yourself back, you know what I'm saying? To get yourself back together to where you're supposed to be, you know, if you have the wherewithal to do so. And that's what Tank did. As you see, he backed up, looked at the ref, took a knee, and then ran to the corner and got his eye wiped or whatever with the towel, right? It should have been called a knockdown. That's a blunder on the ref. That's not Tank's fault. So when y'all say, oh, Tank has an excuse, what do you mean an excuse? Is it an excuse to take a knee and get points deducted? Is it an excuse to get knocked down? Let's say you wouldn't have took the knee and Lamont Roach could have took advantage of that, and he got knocked down. Then he would have said, hey man, I only got knocked down because there was something in my eye. That would have been an excuse.
You dumbass.
But he did the right thing. The only thing that was wrong with the situation is that he didn't lose points. But guess what? The fighter is not the person that deducts the points. It's the ref who's the authoritative figure in the ring and determines who gets points added and points deducted. And what do you expect Tank to do? Jump around and say, oh no, ref, you're supposed to take my points. Take my points. You dumbass. Like, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Case in point. Check this out.
He hasn't thrown any real hard. Damn. I'm sorry.
Was this a knockdown?
Damn.
Right glove, definitely.
So I've never seen so many people blame the fighter for something that's the responsibility of the ref. Case in point, the greatest of all time, one of the greatest of all time, is Floyd Money Mayweather. Nobody blames Floyd for his glove touching the ground and it not being called by the referee, right, against Zab Judah. I've never seen anybody blame Floyd. We blame the ref for missing the call. Oh, you know, one of the current pound for pound kings, Alexander Usyk, when he got hit for a blow in his stomach by Daniel Dubois, a lot of us think that it was legal, but none of us blame Usyk for missing the call. We blame the ref, right? Or wrong? Oh, what about Bud? You know, another current pound for pound king, top 3. You know what I'm saying? Terrence Bud Crawford against Kavaliauskas. Does anybody blame Terrence Crawford for the ref not calling that knockdown? Or do we just say, oh, he got away with one? You know, the ref should have called it. We don't blame Bud. Oh, you know, it's so funny to me, right? Because people are saying, oh, this is a call. I've never seen this before. I've never seen this before, man. Somebody missed a call. He missed a knee and the points were deducted. Yes, this is not a common occurrence. But need I remind you, just a week ago on the greatest card in boxing ever, you know, in Riyadh season. Oh, go back to Zhale Zhang versus Ajit Kabayel. Didn't the referee miss a knockdown by Zhang?
Yeah.
And you check it out right here if you don't believe me.
But wait, there's more.
He nearly went down. Well, that was very strange.
So not only did the ref miss a knockdown, you even hear the announcer starting the count, and then he stopped once the ref didn't call it a knockdown. Before Zhang ended up getting stopped. So my point is that is not to justify it. My point is saying that these things happen. It's human error that's part of boxing. So when you say, oh, I never seen nothing like this before, you're either full of shit, or you just dumb as hell and you don't watch boxing as much as you claim to do, because ain't no way that you missed one of the greatest cards in boxing history last week, where a similar thing transpired. Not to mention, Carlos Adames was also on that card, where he was the victim of a robbery, and Hamza Shiraz was the beneficiary of a robbery with that draw. But you never seen bad calls in boxing before. You know what I'm saying? But you want to blame Tank. Oh, Tank is a beneficiary because you don't like Tank. Now all of a sudden, this is unheard of. Now, like I said, once again, I will reinforce for you deaf goofies out there. Of course, this was a bad call. This was a missed call. It should have been in favor of Roach. However, the part that I object to emphatically with alacrity is the fact that we cannot blame the fighter for something that the referee missed. That's like blaming the judge for, that's like blaming the fighter for a judgment. No, fighters fight and judges judge. So you can't blame a fighter for being the beneficiary of a bad judgment if it was in his favor or not in his favor or her favor. You know what I'm saying? That's like blaming blaming Natasha Jonas for being the beneficiary of a robbery against Michaela Mayer. No, she fought. The judges saw it her way. You feel me? That's like blaming Hamza Shiraz. You never hear me blame Hamza Shiraz for being the beneficiary of a draw. No, it was the judge's fault. He lost to Carlos Adames, but is he supposed to jump up and down and object and say, oh no, give me the loss? Should Tank jump up and down and say, no, give me a knockdown? He took the knee. That's what they teach you. And like I said, a lot of y'all don't never boxed before, but let me give you an example. As an amateur boxer, if you're ever in trouble, I had an eye issue before too. I didn't take a knee, which was silly of me. And you know what happened? My trainer, he chewed me out. He said, bro, if something's wrong with you, then you regather yourself, you regroup. You know what I'm saying? That's what they teach you. If you have your faculties about you and you're able to recognize the situation that you're in, then you take a knee and take the opportunity to try to fix the situation. The only thing that didn't happen was that the ref didn't call it. And then when Tank ran to his corner, you know, that was another missed call too. But in his mind, he's thinking that the ref stopped the time, whether he called it a knockdown or not. So, and he got his face wiped.
No, did he?
So once again, that's not Tank's fault. Even if you want to say that was illegal, which should not happen. You should not interact with your corner. But once again, that's up to the judge. I'm sorry, the referee, excuse me, to call that, not the fighter.
Yeah.
And speaking of taking a knee, right? You know what's funny about taking a knee? Let's think about Ryan Garcia when he took a knee due to a punch from Gervonta Davis. The referee called it, right, as a knockdown.
Yeah.
Remember when Floyd fought Hernandez? He took a knee. It wasn't due to a punch, but he still took a knee. Check out the footage.
Let's take a look at this knockdown. And it seemed not to be caused by a punch. We're not exactly sure why. Just the pain from his hand?
But the referee called it. It's not the fighter's fault to choose whether or not the referee calls it or not. Nor is it a action of somebody trying to cheat.
You dumbass.
What about Danny Swift Garcia when he took a knee against Erislandy Lara? Etc., 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 etc. If you watch boxing, then you know all these things transpire, right? The key difference between them and the Tank situation is that Tank's referee, Steve Willis, who is a fantastic referee otherwise, you know, but he did make a mistake. We're all human, right? This was definitely a low point. He didn't call the knockdown. Tank didn't persuade him not to call the knockdown. Tank didn't beg him not to call the knockdown. He took a knee and did what he was supposed to do as a fighter. The referee is supposed to use his discretion to determine what the judgment will be as a repercussion of his actions. And he didn't do that. So how are you blaming the fighter? I've never seen this before. It's crazy to me. Like, even the examples I just gave you of Ryan Garcia taking the knee due to a Tank punch, Floyd taking the knee because he hurt his hand, or Danny Swift Garcia taking the knee, or Miguel Cotto taking the knee due to punches or whatever. They didn't call the knockdown on themselves. It was a ref that called it. So why are we saying because this referee missed the call, it's Tank's fault? That's ridiculous at best, right? Nonsensical at best, right? It doesn't make any sense.
You dumbass.
So we already talked about that, right? So let's keep the same theme going, and let's talk about all the things that transpired as far as a bad and scandalous fight, because this was definitely a bad and scandalous fight for Gervonta Davis. But let's feature some of his contemporaries, right, that have all bounced back according to the court of public opinion, right? Let's start with Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez struggled and looked shaky against Sandor Martin, right? He struggled and looked shaky against Steve Claggett, right? In fact, he lost to George Kambosos, right? And then he had a terrible, shitty performance against Jermaine Ortiz, right? He was still able to bounce back. Those are 4 controversial, scandalous fights for Teofimo Lopez, and we still talk about him, right?
Yeah.
Now let's move on to Vasily Lomachenko. You know, he lost in his second fight to Orlando Salido, right? He lost to Devin Haney. It was controversial. I actually had him winning, but he still lost to Devin Haney. And he got smoked by Teofimo Lopez, right? So that's 3 L's. He's 18-3. He's still able to bounce back and be relevant. He's a current champion right now.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Ryan Garcia. He got dropped and people thought he quit, right? Against Gervonta Tank Davis. He got dropped by Luke Campbell. And then he cheated Devin Haney. These are all scandals and bad fights in the court of public opinion. Once again, I'm not saying that I feel this way about all these fights, which I do feel this way about a lot of these fights, but I'm just saying this is a court of public opinion, and these fighters are still able to bounce back despite the controversy. That's the point I'm making here. Now let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And that next one will be the guy that we just left off with, Devin Haney, right? Devin Haney, like I said, had the controversial win over Lomachenko, and then he got brutalized by Ryan Garcia, even though the man cheated. People still have their image in their head, but that's a controversy that he's bouncing back from as well.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we have Shakur Stevenson, where he looked horrible against Edward De Los Santos, right? And people still don't forgive him. And every single fight subsequently, and even a little bit before that, was considered boring. He said he put you to sleep, but he's still able to bounce back, right? He just had a fight on Riyadh Season, right? Against a late replacement in Josh Pally.
Yeah.
So where I'm going with this is that these are all, according to the court of public opinion, bad fights and blemishes on their records that they were able to bounce back from. Now let's forget his contemporaries. Let's talk about the great ones as well. Even the greatest, one of the greatest of all time, like Terrence Bud Crawford, who was very vocal about this fight with this silly behind tweet. Now, Terrence Bud Crawford is one of my favorite fighters, man. This dude's a beast, one of the most phenomenal fighters, all-time great already, man. But this tweet was silly, I have to say, because he's saying that he never seen something like this happen before. Oh, may I remind you? Check this out. Didn't you take a knee against Kai Velasquez that was called a slip, which a lot of people thought that you were knocked down? The referee missed that. So you never seen it before. Yeah, because you was feeling it. You feel me? We seen it though. We seen it for you. Let me remind you and put it there so you could see it this time. You feel me? So my point is that I understand when something bad happens, we want to say, oh, the right thing should happen. Of course, we should always point out mistakes, but let's not be oblivious or ignorant to the fact that these things happen. It's associated with human error in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And it's associated with the referee's call and judgment and discretion, not the fighter. That's not Terrence Bud Crawford's fault that the referee didn't call that a knockdown. I never blame Terrence Crawford. In fact, I always defend him and say, hey, man, it wasn't a knockdown. What you want him to do? I don't care what it looks like. I care about what was called. So now this one, Terrence Crawford with Gervonta Davis was worse than that because, like I said, he took a knee and he walked away. The Steve Willis arguably missed 2 calls. However, it's not Tank's fault. He didn't try to pull up a David Blaine magic a magic shield or an invisible cloak and try to hide the fact that he took a knee. The referee just missed it. It is what it is. Yeah. And check this out. That was the only call for greats that was missed. How about Floyd Mayweather against Zab Judah? Like I said, with his glove touch, that was also missed. Yeah. And not to mention being missed. What about Floyd Mayweather's controversial struggle with Marcos Maidana or Castillo or Oscar De La Hoya, right? These are blemishes on his record that we still got over. We still consider him one of the greatest. Yeah. Same with Manny Pacquiao. He's one of the greatest, right? He was robbed by Jeff Horn. He was robbed by Tim Bradley. He was put to sleep by Juan Manuel Marquez. And he was stopped by a relatively unknown fighter early in his career, and he's still able to recover and bounce back in the court of public opinion. So let's not act like this is unheard of for Gervonta Davis's contemporaries or even some of the fighters that we call the greatest of all time. Let's keep it going. Yeah. My boy Cinnamon, who's my favorite fighter, you know, Saul Canelo Alvarez. People say that he got away with a draw and Triple G was robbed in their first fight, right? People say Erislandy Lara beat him and he was a beneficiary of a robbery in that fight, right? Where he got the win. Yeah. And people crucify him for ducking David Benavidez. But guess what? Canelo's still considered the face of boxing. It wasn't the end of the world for Canelo. He's still pushing forward to this day. Let's keep it going. Yeah. Even back in the day with Rocky Marciano, people say that his wins were a little sus because some of his wins were paid off by the mafia. Right? But he's still considered one of the best, right? So nobody is exempt, man. Even the greatest Muhammad Ali. What did he say? Hold on. I ain't gonna go too far now. We ain't gonna disparage Muhammad Ali's greatness, you know what I'm saying? But if I really wanted to, I could tell you some controversial decisions that were in his favor in his career too. And he's even admitted to some. If you know, you know. We're not going to talk about it though, because Muhammad Ali is the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to draw the damn line when it comes to Muhammad Ali. You feel me? But the point is that people act like Gervonta Tank Davis is by himself, like he's the pioneer, the trailblazer of great fighters, being the beneficiary of a robbery or being involved in some shaky decisions. You know what I'm saying? So my point is all in all of that is like, you got to slow down and relax a little bit. If Gervonta Tank Davis, if this is his first controversy and it was a draw due to a missed call for a knee, I mean, relative to everybody I just named, is really not that bad, is it? So once again, y'all just reaching, but let's keep it going. I'm not done yet.
Damn.
So the point is that even the greatest boxers and his contemporaries have controversial decisions and are involved in, you know, some questionable, scandalous fights. That's it. That's it, bro. They have all been involved in something that's a little shaky that results in a blemish in their record or public opinion saying, hey, man, that didn't look too good. Gervonta Tank Davis is no different. But the difference is that his controversial fight came associated with a draw. I mean, if I'm going to pick one, I'll take that. I'm just saying, you know, y'all are mad at him because a knee wasn't called by him. He doesn't call knees. He doesn't call point deductions. That's the referee's job. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that this call wasn't a blunder. It absolutely was. In fact, I'm saying the opposite. And you saw proof of that. I'm saying that this fight and this missed call is not the fighter's fault. It's never the fighter's fault. In all those situations, I've never blamed the fighter. So why would you start now? I'll tell you why you start now, because you're emotional. And you don't like Tank. So you're looking for a reason to blame him, or a reason to be hard on him, or a reason to be extra critical or hypercritical, bro. That's why hate is such a strong emotion, because it forces people to put blinders on. Your eyes will literally deceive you. There's no way that you could blame that on Tank. However, you could objectively say, hey man, Lamont Roach, dang, that sucks for Lamont Roach because he was the victim of a bad call and Tank was the beneficiary of a no call, of course. But it's not Tank's fault. It's not Tank's excuse. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He took a knee and tried to regroup. And the referee missed the call. That's all it is. And the referee allowed his quarter to interact with him after not calling the call and not saying, oh, something's wrong with your eye. But even then, you know, people are saying, oh, definitively, oh, they should not be able to interact. No, if your mouthpiece falls off and the referee calls it, then who puts the mouthpiece back in? It's usually they go to the corner to wash it off and put it back in. So you can interact with your fighter in certain circumstances. This should not have been one because he missed the call. However, a lot of these rulings and a lot of these calls are to the discretion of the official. And that officiating was done last night by Steve Willis. And unfortunately, an overall great referee dropped the ball. And it looks a little shaky, you know what I'm saying? But once again, the main point is still the main point. That's not Tank's fault. Tank took a knee. The knee just wasn't deducted. You know what I'm saying? And that is what it is, man. It's not an excuse. It's not a way out. It's not Tank's doing. There's not anybody's doing besides the referee. It's a missed call. It is what it is. Yeah. So yeah, man, y'all let me know what y'all think about that, man. I know it's a long video, but I had to break it down because there's a lot of goofies out there saying some nonsense, and I think it's just ridiculous, bro. Do you watch boxing or not? It's so funny that how many people are saying, oh yeah, I've never seen a call that's missed at this capacity before, and the best card was just a week ago, and the same thing, a very similar thing transpired. Now, granted, Zhang didn't voluntarily take a knee, which is worse because that was literally due to a punch. Tank's was even less egregious than that because it was something in his eye from whatever it was, from his hair or whatever. I'm not saying that that's a good reason to take a knee, but for him it is. He can't see. Even with David Alexander, he had blood in his eye when he fought Tim Bradley. Sorry, not blood, sweat in his eye. And he said he didn't want to fight no more. The referee stopped and said, hold on, you want to continue? He said no. Tank continued. So when y'all say the excuse, that's an excuse. But Tank wasn't making an excuse. He took a knee like you're supposed to, and he was prepared to take the consequences and repercussions of that. It's just in this case, the referee messed up and there were none. How can you blame the fighter for that? But y'all let me know what y'all think about that, man. Don't forget to smack that like button, most importantly. But remember, most importantly, that with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. The doctor's out. Peace. And if you drop a comment and you didn't watch the whole video, please believe that I'll be able to tell, and I'm not even going to address it. You feel me? So if you didn't watch the video in its entirety to get my full thought, then don't even leave a comment, because I'm definitely going to just ignore you like a little simple, stupid bitch that you are. You feel me? If you want to come discuss, I go live every day and come to the stream and we'll have a discussion about it. I love hearing people's thoughts, but I don't like people jumping out the window and just with preconceived notions and assuming shit. I won't go for that because you're not as smart as me. I promise you not. Let's keep it going, man. Y'all be easy. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.